is up, everyone? We are back Saturday morning, college hoops show. It's NBA All-Star break. Got the Genesis going on out in California. We got a UFC pay-per-view today. Big sports day, even though there's no NFL, no NBA. We've got a new guest here today. We got Captain taking over for Kurt. Huge upgrade here in my book. Captain, what's going on, man? Good to see you.
Thanks, man. Been a long time. Yeah, like you said, no NBA, no NFL, no esports even this morning in the NA. So it was an easy morning to hop on, thankfully.
Nice, man. Yeah. So we've got the projections wizard with us to let us know if we're talking about plays that don't make sense based on the numbers. Gav, I know that you have a love-hate relationship with projections. What's going on, man?
Yeah, let's do it. No more NFL. You know, welcoming everybody who this might be your first college basketball slate of the season. You're allowed to do that. You know, touts aren't allowed to all of a sudden now be a college basketball expert after NFL season. Fortunately, I don't really watch much NFL. Barely watch any of the Super Bowls, so we'll be cracking down here. Pretty good slate, bookended by just such an awesome game of Marquette and UConn.
Yeah, that's the hammer game here on this slate. Best game of the day. One of the best games of the season so far. We got a guy full-time in the chat already making fun of Nick Honor. You'd love to see that. We got 12 games here, so we should just dive in. Gav, we start off with a huge total here, A&M at Bama. I'm seeing Bama -8 this morning. I know we took some A&M plus 10.5 yesterday. I'm seeing a 160 total, so it's got to be up there with the highest on the slate. What do you got here?
Yeah, Bama off the LSU game that went past 200 points, I think, for the second straight time that those teams played. So Bama's only losses in conference at Tennessee, at Auburn. You know, no shame in that whatsoever. Texas A&M, man, wow, off the just terrible Vandy debacle where I think Mannion hit the game winner. Yeah. These are actually the top two shot quality offenses, partially due to the fact of how these teams prioritize the rim. Secondly, you know, Bama kicks it around a decent amount, 145th in turnover percentage, but they're actually bottom 40 in points off live ball turnovers. So A&M can have success on the glass if they can turn Alabama over. This is definitely a spot that they can keep things close. The one worry is that the A&M super compact defense against home Bama. Like if Bama comes out and shoots 35% from three, we're gonna have no chance on that spread. But you know, playing the odds in that spot, so still decent. You know, for DFS, we got a great total. I think like around 160 or something. So gonna have to look around here for some potential spots.
Yeah, Captain, we've got some studs in this game that we've played a lot this year. Wade Taylor, Mark Sears, guys like that are gonna project well in a game total to tie. What do you think there?
Projections, but the biggest guys are just Sears and Taylor, and then a little bit of Boots. I mean, everyone's priced really low. For some reason, the tempo isn't as high for the Bama guys as like in the projection side as I would have expected. So they're not getting like a big bump. They're gonna need like the close game to push the minutes, I think, to hit the ceiling. But the two biggest ceilings are Taylor and Sears for sure in this game.
Yeah, we've seen Wade Taylor's price come down a bit. You know, he's been at or around 9K for a while. So seeing him at 8.3 is nice. And then Boots has just had a huge role, Gavin, since coming back from the injury. He's under 7K here. Like what Captain said, for Bama, it's a huge pace down. I see A&M at 321st in tempo. That's what he's talking about there. So, you know, A&M guys are the ones getting the boost. I kind of agree with him that A&M's going to have to push Bama for like Sears or Estrada to have a ceiling here. What do you think DFS-wise, Gav?
Yeah, I mean, single-digit spread I'm not too worried about, you know, blowout. It definitely can come into play at a narrower range of outcomes. But Estrada also is off not just 2 foul games, but 2 foul games and a blowout the game before that. So like 7K, he is kind of an interesting, I think, secondary ancillary option. Similar to Boots. Yeah, I think Boots is going to probably have a little bit better usage. The peripherals haven't been what we're used to with him, but man, him and Wade Taylor are going to run so much pick and roll against this Bama defense that's 178th defending the pick and roll on a point per possession basis. So both Wade Taylor and Boots get bumps for me. Riley Griffin priced down, man. Kind of gotten his role back a little bit. It's not like Right Soul completely took it from him, but they're just jamming, some of these smaller lineups that they can force a little bit more turnovers with, because they're just not going to be able to defend the rim with any sort of efficiency with the personnel they have. So trying to get out and run more with the smaller lineup. I could be interested in some Solomon Washington under 6K. Like if he's going to play 30 plus minutes and he's going to rebound extremely well against a team that doesn't rebound great and doesn't play good interior defense like Bama, I can get behind some Solomon Washington. He definitely has like 30-point upside in this spot. Other than that, I think I'm probably out. I don't know if this is the Jaren Stevenson spot, playing the forwards like Walters, Diabate, maybe a Pringle, not the greatest matchup, but there's not much under 5K, so we're going to have to be digging.
Yeah, the guy that projects well, it's not a stud, is Jace Carter for A&M. Been seeing 30-plus minutes pretty routinely lately. Not a guy that I've played much of coming in, but he projects for over 4X for us. I think it's Wade Taylor or Boots Radford here. Boots, the guy that we're referring to if you're new, is Tyrese Radford. So those are my main targets here. Let's keep it moving. Texas Tech at Iowa State. Iowa State lands 6.5 here, 137.5 total Gav. I think third lowest on the entire slate behind the Houston and the Virginia games. What do you got for us here?
Yeah, usually any game in Ames is not going to be a shootout by any stretch, but yeah, Tech's off the big KU win where Kansas shot 3 of 18 from 3 without McCullough. So, whatever. They had a non-cover home win versus UCF the game before. So it's, Texas Tech coming off of 2 decent looking results, but, I think not as great as they really are. Iowa State's got 3 in a row under their belt at Texas versus TCU and at Cincy. Iowa State also has a quick Monday turnaround at Houston. So that's a huge spot. Texas 6th in the nation in 3-point percentage since the Cambridge injury versus their 37.5% season-long metric. Like, they're just shooting the lights out, and that's how you have to beat the Iowa State no middle. You're not going to get anything at the rim. You're really going to have to kick and swing the ball, past the overloaded ball side coverage. And Texas Tech has some requisite shooters to be able to do that. They're top 100 in turnover percentage, so they don't kick it away. Top 50 in assist rate, top 100 in 3-point rate, and the 24th best 3-point percentage on the season. That is kind of how you unpack Iowa State. So it's decent stylistically for Texas Tech in this spot. I almost thought about like some Pop Isaacs 3-point props maybe. Decent spot for them. Got kind of one, stick out price here in this game that, we'll have to touch on, but not as much, just general DFS interest in this one.
Yeah, Captain, kind of tough for the Texas Tech guys to project well on the road here at Iowa State. Is there anything standing out in projections on either side here? We've got Darian Williams coming off the 57-point game against Kansas. I think he was perfect from the field, 3-point line, and the free throw line.
Yeah, I think Root said it was like the first time in 25 years somebody did that. Just ridiculous.
I don't think he's doing it again. I mean, it's the guy that we were talking about before the show. Lipsy's the one that's popping the most. Him and Isaacs and Gilbert are the ones with the highest ceilings here. They're all looking at like a ceiling of like 40 plus, but Lipsy's the one where the price is down less than 7. Maybe you can I don't know if you guys want to dumpster dive, but we were talking about stuff that was really low. Like Robert Jones is projecting like decently if you need to really go down, but it's really just Lipsy and Gilbert. Interesting enough is like 4+X as well.
Yeah, Gilbert's sustained more of a role, Gavin, than I thought since Lipsy's come back. It might just be because Lipsy's had a couple foul games, which is why he's under 7K here.
Could be, yeah.
Why don't you give us your Lipsy thoughts and then anyone else in this game before we move on?
Yeah, it's not a great spot for Lipsy to have a multitude of turnovers, kind of what I referenced on Tech's turnover percentage. But regardless, I mean, he is a guy who has multiple paths in terms of how he can accumulate his fantasy points. He's under 7K. He's at home. I think Texas Tech, off the top of my head, has much better pacing and tempo this year than you would have expected from a Grant McCaslin offense. So, yeah, he's if not a core play, he's at worst borderline core play, mainline viable. It's just, the fouls, it's just been kind of funky for him. If he doesn't foul, he should get that price pretty easily. I would like Gilbert more if like Curtis Jones wasn't taking up so many minutes and actually a fair amount of usage, especially from three. 5'8", I won't click him. I get the play, but still a crappy total here. So it's like Lipsy, I don't mind taking a stab at. Cap said Robert Jones, Trey King, those guys are always, one's going to get 25 minutes, one's going to get 15 because of fouls. So if you want to mix one of those guys in, fine. McMillan and Walton are kind of the 3-point shooters that they could take, 5 to 6 plus threes and potentially hit 2 to 3 and have a little bit better path against that no middle. So that's probably the only other spot I'd look at in this game.
Yeah, let's keep it moving. TCU at Kansas State here. K-State sitting at -1, 143 total. Gav, I took the TCU plus money. I'm not sure if you did here. Why don't you give us some game notes?
Yeah, I'm just not really a Kansas State guy. I just don't like this team and their profile analytically. Kansas State off their straight up loss, but they covered at BYU, which, few teams have. That was also after an OT home win. So, versus KU the game prior. They're also 1-5 in their last 6. They've had some tough outings, but the main thing here is K-State 351st in turnover percentage, TCU 26th best defense in forcing turnovers with the number 1 shot frequency in transition, 5th in transition efficiency. Like if you're going to kick the ball away against TCU and let them start their transition on live ball turnovers, you're just going to get buried. TCU, they're going to run, they're going to assault the rim, and they're going to get on the glass. And those are all areas that Kansas State vastly struggles in. I'm with you. I'm with you on the TCU. Just the way that near prox rate, they're still 15th in the country, and they're quote unquote down from last year. So could even get a little bit of regression back to the mean there. But still, I think kind of a couple sneaky spots that we can look at for DFS that I don't think a lot of people will target.
Yeah, Captain. Emmanuel Miller, when he's closer to 7K, like him a bit more than when he's, around that 8K spot, just because he doesn't have a ton of ceiling games, but just super consistent. We saw Jameer Nelson slide into the starting 5 for TCU last game. I think that might be the spot where we might be light on the minutes, just because we haven't seen it over multiple games. But he was really good in that game on Monday, I believe. For TCU, what are the projections like here?
Yeah, for Jameer, if I put him up closer to 28 to 30, then he's easily at the 4X area.
Yeah.
For Manuel Miller, it's same thing. It's minutes. He has the ceiling, but his minutes have been I was looking at it before the show. They've been kind of up and down. So if he gets them, he had that one game where he went 50 even. So if he plays every minute on one of these games, he's going to crush. The guys that are popping the most off what we have are all those K-State studs, though. They're all in that right around 7K. They pay 35 to 37 minutes, and they're getting a 3% tempo boost. And it's actually a decent total for them, too. It's 80 or 72. So those three are the ones that are popping the most and look on paper like the safest plays because of how many minutes, and they all have decent peripherals, too. Yeah,
Gav, kind of tough to sort through these K-State guys. They've kind of been at the same price all season. Well, not them being the same price, but the three of them have been clustered. Do you have any favorites here matchup-wise between the three? They all project well, like Cap said, just because the minutes are so solid. And then thoughts on Jameer Nelson coming off the start. I think he's pretty sneaky here. And then anything else on K-State? I know that we were talking about Ames and Will McNair last night a bit.
Yeah, I don't mind McNair at all. Low mid 5K at home. He's going to have a pretty adverse matchup on the glass. But in terms of the K-State studs, if I had to rank these, oh man, I'd probably go Carter first, just with the peripherals and especially the steals that the stocks he can give you. I just think he has a little bit different level of ceiling than the other guys. Perry's probably a little bit more consistent just with the shot rate he's going to get. And if he's got a smaller Jameer Nelson on him, probably going to get his shot off a little bit easier than it would have been otherwise. And then Kaluma's like 10 shots in 3 straight games with, some good rebounding numbers. Probably more of, I think these guys are a little bit more cash plays than real GPPs, but like you're going to get Perry and Carter like right at the same price as Lipsy. So who's going to be mega owned. So they're kind of interesting leverage plays, I think, in this spot. But McNair, Ames, if he starts again, might be one of the only viable punts on the slate. And then, Jameer Nelson, like especially in a matchup where he's going to be able to get to the rim, he's going to force turnovers. If he starts again, I will be playing him.
Yeah, he had 7 stocks in that game, Captain Jameer Nelson. I'm always hesitant to go to a guy who had a ceiling game just because he had like 4 blocks. But I do like Jameer Nelson's upside here. Any interest in like day-to-day Ames? I was kind of looking through guys under 5K. We don't have that much on this slate. He started a couple games in a row, doesn't do a lot. But like if you want to play, a couple Creighton guys, if you want to play like a Zion Pullen or Filipowski, guys like that, you might have to take a chance on a cheap guy, and at least Ames is starting. The projection isn't great, but
yeah, he needs minutes. He's like a half a minute fantasy point guy, a half a fantasy point a minute guy. So it's just definitely grimy as shit.
Yeah. You have any Ames interest here? We have him for 9.2.
I've played worse. That's all I'll say.
That is definitely true. We have played worse. All right. Speaking of worse, let's move on to Virginia. Hate that school. Wake at Virginia here. I saw Virginia minus 2.5 right before we went live. 130.5 tote here, Gav. We've been riding Wake pretty much all of conference play. I'm not personally betting into a JPJ spot at Virginia with a team like Wake. I kind of think that Virginia's built to beat these type of teams, especially at home. I'm actually thinking about taking the Virginia minus 2.5. What do you think?
Yeah, Virginia 362nd away from home on Haslam. You'll notice there are 362 college basketball teams, so that means they are pretty much the worst road team, or I guess they're that much better at home than they are on the road. They've had some fucking awful stinkers on the road, man. But Wake off, the loss at Duke, predictably. They also slammed Virginia in Winston-Salem, 66-47 earlier on in the year. But they are 2-5 straight up on the road and ATS, but their only wins being BC and Georgia Tech. So, yeah, that doesn't inspire a ton of confidence. You do have kind of a funky spot here with Virginia. They're at Virginia Tech on a quick Monday turnaround after this for a rivalry game. So, theoretically, kind of matchup-wise, Virginia and the pack line, they're really trying to prevent guys from getting to the rim, and Wake Forest just has, 3 guys that can pretty much do it almost at will. They were able to get through, the Virginia defense, which led to some really easy buckets and a pretty comfy win. But Virginia is in a good spot, getting paced up here by a defense that's been relatively suspect at times. You're going to get the Wake Forest drop coverage. So guys like Beekman, guys like McNeely, some of the shooters might be a little bit better off in this spot. But yeah, some decent DFS, I think, spots. I'm not really a play Virginia guy or play guys in a Virginia game on a 12-game slate, but holy shit, this Ryan Dunn price. Probably going to be a core play for me. I'm not even going to look at the box scores really. I don't even care if he's under 6K, because he can literally get 16 points on stocks in any given game. Took his over PRA in the spot. I think getting the 4. Drawing the 4 matchup is pretty favorable for Wake. You don't have to go butt up against Epton Reed. You don't have to work against Salas, who was really a defender. Like, he was a defensive specialist at Gonzaga. So even as good as his offense is, he can still get in a stance and make your life hell. Probably starting with Dunn for me. I'm not a Beekman guy. People will click him. I think he's more of a cash play, slate in and slate out, but I get the play.
Yeah, Cap, we've seen Ryan Dunn's minutes fluctuate a bit. He had the foul game 2 games ago, but seeing him play 35 last game, really encouraging here. What are projections like in this one? Probably on the UVA side, mostly.
Yeah. Huge, big tempo boost and a total for UV. I was just running the projections with just the people that are in the playbook just to see, and I confirmed what I was thinking, that Beekman and Dunn are showing up right away in the optimal.
Mhm.
They're both over 4.6x, over a 50-point upside projection for Beekman and almost 40 for Dunn at 5.9. So you have to play Dunn, especially in like cash and SDs, I think. And then Beekman, I think, just depends if you want to pay up for him, but he is under 8K and playing 35 in this like really great matchup on paper.
Yeah, it just kind of feels weird clicking at least one Virginia guy, let alone two in the same
Yeah.
lineup.
Yeah.
I think Dunn's more of a priority for me just because like you can find other guys around 8K that have ceiling. But Gav, him saying that Beekman, we have his upside for 52.4. That's pretty gnarly. Thoughts there? And then is there anyone else in this game? We saw Monsanto play a bunch for Wake last game. I think that it was a bit like foul reliant because like Carr, Reed, and Hildreth all fouled. So I think he's more. I think they want him more in like that 15 to 20 minute role than the mid 20s. Do you have any read on that with Monsanto?
I would just call him like a high teens, maybe 20 minutes, on a good night guy. He's just one of the most incendiary shooters from deep in the college game. And he's playing a team that runs a pack line, so he's going to have opportunities to get threes up.
Yeah.
If he plays, 20 minutes, like if you told me Monsanto takes the 9 threes or even the 7 threes he took 2 games ago in 15 minutes, I'm probably playing him anyway. I just hope that he makes 3 of the 7. But yeah, 4.4 on a slate with not much salary. It is road at Virginia, but it's about as good of a matchup as you can have versus a Virginia defense and being a 3-point shooter, like solely specialist kind of guy. So Monsanto in play. Yeah, if you get fouls, then he really could pay off.
Yeah, I think Monsanto is really interesting for like the qualifier. If you're playing the $30 Q here, just because like he has downside to play like 9 minutes, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving here. Creighton at Butler, really good game here. Creighton going to Butler. They're -3, 151.5 total. Butler went to Creighton and beat them 2 weeks ago, Gav. Creighton's got pretty gnarly schedule coming up, but I think I'm not worried that this is like a look ahead spot for Creighton just because they did drop that game at home. What do you think?
Yeah, they're off 2 straight wins at Xavier versus Georgetown, and they have the UConn home rematch on Tuesday. So usually I would think this is a brutal sandwich spot for Creighton, but Butler also beat them 99-98 in Omaha without Posh. Majeski alluded to kind of a similar note that I had, but like these bigger wings of Butler are definitely going to be able to have their way against Creighton and Telfort and Brooks. I think Brooks even more so because he's going to draw that Mason Miller, Francisco Farabello matchup, and Pierre Brooks is a big bastard too. But Creighton 21st highest pick and roll rate, Butler 264th defending the pick and roll on a point per possession basis. So Trey Alexander, Baylor Shireman, definitely big bumps to them. Yeah, this is it'll be a good game. We should get points for sure. I don't know if it's going to be the near 200 that we got a couple games ago, but definitely going to be a spot. We know what to do with the Creighton guys. I think both sides have some DFS viable plays.
Yeah, and we've seen a bunch of Butler games, especially on these Saturday slates, go to overtime.
Oh, God, don't even say it.
Go to triple overtimes. Captain, we've seen the Creighton guys project well all season despite the high price. It's just like so much usage between those top 3.
Yeah.
Are we able to kind of sift through those 3? Do you have a favorite? And then what do the projections say on the Butler guys?
Unfortunately, no on the Creighton guys. They're all projecting for 36 to 38 and all have ceilings at like 50 to 54.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah, there's 8 people in this game that all play 30 plus minutes, and all of them are right around like that 4 plus X mark. So this game has a ton of people you can play. Down lower, DJ Davis is popping at 4.3, and then even lower is Jalen Thomas at 4. So on the Butler side, for like a little bit of savings, you might be able to play those guys with one of the studs to do like a run back.
Yeah, we saw Jalen Thomas play 28 minutes last game, Gav. I'm not sure how sticky it is. I think he's more of like the 20 to 24, but still under 5K. We don't have a bunch. He's one of the only guys that we have projecting even decently under 5K. Thoughts on him? And then We saw Posh's minutes kind of take a dive last game. I'm not too concerned about that. I think they bump right back up here, probably 30 to 33 for Posh and under 7K at home. I kind of like that.
I mean, they literally sat Posh against Marquette because something named Finley Beesjack was not missing from 3. So how sticky is that game to
Finley
game? That's a real person. How viable is that game to game? I tend to side with you on both of those arguments. Posh probably bounces back up, and 28 minutes is probably much more Jalen Thomas's ceiling outcome, where if you get another 28 minutes, you're dancing naked, but probably should expect more 23, 24 range because they do have Screen. And while, Screen, I think, is from Bucknell. He's not some world beater. He is pretty decent just for a backup center. So it's not like they need to push Thomas. He also has plenty of foul risk in his own right. He's not immune to that. So, I think in the player pool, but not really a priority for me in this spot.
I'm still laughing at Finley Beesjack. I had him in the playbook, Gav.
When I had 2 or 3 Posh, I'm watching Finley Beesjack hit threes in that game. I'm just like, you got to be shitting me.
Yeah, this game's got a bunch of good plays. Gav, do you have a favorite of the Creighton studs before we move on? I haven't gotten them right basically all year, and I feel like they crush every game except the ones that I use them. So,
we're gonna get to 9:30 a.m. and we're gonna see that Turtle flips over a 4% owned Kalkbrenner for the 96th time this season. I'm just gonna shit my pants. Like, oh no. I think it's actually a little bit more of a Trey Alexander spot in this game. I think he really could erupt. I think high 30s for 8-4. He's probably my favorite contrarian stud spend up. But dude, Shireman has been unreal consistent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight games with 10+ boards. I mean, guys
coming off the triple double, right?
Yeah, guys just been hunting triple doubles last 2 games. Just been on a different level. So if you want to play a Baylor Shireman, now since we don't have these premium DFS guys like Carter, Oduro, Edey, I think Baylor is more in play on this slate than he is on other main slates we've seen him on.
Yeah, that's a good point. We don't have those mega ceiling guys. We don't have Providence on the slate. We've just been jamming the Providence studs every time they've been on. All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's go to the SEC. Florida at Georgia, huge total here, Gav. Florida's out to -4. I grabbed some -2.5 yesterday. 158 tote is what I saw before the show. Georgia, always tough to figure out. Florida been playing much better of late. Up to 29th at KenPom. What do you got here for us?
Yeah, this game, the first go around was something. 84 possessions in an OT game. I mean, I don't even care if it's OT. 84 possessions. I saw that and was just like, you never see an 84 on the possession counter. But Florida's off the predictable shit win at home against LSU post Auburn thrashing. Then now they're back on the road with an at Bama road trip looming on Wednesday. Georgia 5 straight losses. They were competitive in 4 of those 5, minus the Mississippi State game. They led Bama late. They were tied with South Carolina late. They battled Arkansas the whole way, which I don't even know if that's good or bad, given how shit Arkansas is. But Florida out-rebounded Georgia 48-27 in this matchup last time. They also turned it over 19 times in Gainesville to Georgia's 9. So I don't know if Florida's going to kick the ball away that much, but I still expect that rebounding to hold. Georgia's outside the top 200 and allowing offensive rebound versus Florida's second best mark in the nation. And Florida's pretty reliant on getting to the free throw line. 27th best free throw rate. They're at home, but Florida's top 100 defensively in free throw rate, so not putting opponents on the line a ton. Georgia outside the top 200 in allowing transition. Florida fourth highest shot transition frequency. So, again, going to get up and down, but the whole thing about this is just the pricing on such a mega total game. It is 2 big rotations, but I would not be making a lineup today with no pieces from this game.
Yeah, that's interesting. Catherine, like Gav said, a bunch of guys get minutes on both teams here.
Yeah.
We don't have the super condensed studs. What do you see in here?
I mean, it's tough. The like Gav said, the matchup is crazy. There's a 5% tempo boost for Georgia and a 2% for Florida. So just that alone makes it like really nice for points to be scored. But the rotations make it crazy hard for projections. On Florida, it's really just Samuel that's popping, and if he doesn't foul, he should probably crush here, 7K. And we know if he gets 30 plus minutes, that he's just gonna nuke. All the Clayton and Pullen are both right there at like 4x, and they're definitely going to play. Their upside's nice at 40 plus. On the Georgia side, they might have some mid-range guys that we can play with. JAR and Damari are both under 5,500. I like Damari for what it's worth. I know, like I've played him a bunch this season, and usually when I play him, he's done okay. He's 4x, but JR is 4.3. 30 minutes, and this tempo is at 5K is kind of hard to not look at.
Hey, Gav, whoever captain has in his core, we're just gonna have to jam because he's gotten Georgia right and we have not. So, DFS thoughts here, Gav. I do like the Tyrese Samuel play. He's probably my favorite play on the Florida side. We saw Handlogden have a huge game against Georgia last time. His minutes, though, scare the shit out of me, and he's just not a scorer. I like Samuel the best here, and then I'm kind of throwing my hands up on the Georgia side. This was the Chua spot where you called the double-double, and he had it on that Saturday slate. What do you got here DFS-wise?
Yeah, the 5K Georgia guys, I mean, we probably should start ranking these because this is going to be crucial in terms of figuring this out. I would probably – do we just say Demery number one? Is that where we're at? Because captain likes him. I think I might just go that route. Like whoever captain likes on Georgia, I'm on board because I don't even know if any of these guys really stick out as having a better matchup or have more visibility to 32 plus minutes, anything like that. So yeah, I would say you probably need at least one Georgia because one of these guys is going to get there against just the mega tempo of Florida at home.
Yeah, these are the spots where I usually can never decide for a main, so I just end up not playing any of them and then watch them all go for 28.
I just let them fall in. Let the optimizer fall in and put that last thing in.
Yeah, I think I'm Demery as
Right.
number one. And then Samuel, my favorite on the Florida side. Gav, do you have a favorite on the Florida side? We've seen Pullen kind of clear himself of Clayton. He's been more of the peripheral lead guard, whereas Clayton's been pretty scoring reliant, like more of the scoring reliant guard than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Pullen's just more of a natural point guard than Clayton. Like Clayton played alongside Dennis Jenkins last year as the off-ball guy, which I think makes sense, but can't play a little point guard. I love, I'm a Pullen guy, former Big West transfer. So yeah, I kind of get the 7-9 against just a shit defense and puts up pretty good peripherals even for, a small guy. So I think, Pullen in play, I'm not crawling over, myself to get to him by any means. Man, I think Handlogden's an awesome play for like large field. Just he could foul 3 times in the first half and play 11 total minutes. Could also thrash these guys. He's only 6K, so it's not like you're paying a ton to find out.
Yeah.
But after Demery, like, God, do I even say like Abdur Rahim? I mean, he's like more the 3-point shooter for Georgia, probably their best threat from the perimeter, and I think just has minute stickiness from that point of view. He did foul against Mississippi State, which causes minutes to dive, and he's also had 2 foul-out games against Bama and then this Florida game last time. But I'd probably go Demery, Abdur Rahim, and then like, God, are you going to play like a Noah Thomason? I'm out on Melendez. I'm not doing the Melendez thing. If he scores 45, so be it.
Yeah.
I
guess you can go down to Blue Kane. He's not the worst in the world, but it's not inspiring by any means.
Barrick brings up Justin Hill in the chat. If you're a box score clicker, you're going to play Justin Hill because he crushed against Florida last time. I think he's at least the 3rd best behind Demery and Abdur Rahim. Any last thoughts here, Cap?
No, I would just say the JR, like Gav said, because of the shooting, it does have the highest ceiling point per dollar of those like 5K Georgia guys. He's got like a 6x ceiling. The other guys are closer to like 5.
Yeah, and I also think that he's got the most like locked in minutes. Like the only games where he's not hitting high 20s, 30s are the foul games. So I think he's my favorite there.
Demery fouled against Florida last time for what it's worth. So
Okay.
That might suppress his score from last game.
Yeah. All right, let's move on back to the Big 12. We got Texas at Houston. Good game here. Texas still hovering at 25th at Ken Palm. Houston number 1 at Ken Palm with UConn right on their ass there. Gav, I see Houston minus 10 here, 131 total. So right there with Virginia for lowest on the slate. We can keep this one quicker here. What do you got?
Yeah, Houston, 2 straight wins since the loss at KU. Said before, they have the quick home ISU or Iowa State rematch on the Monday turnaround. Texas off, they just thrashed West Virginia. We had bet West Virginia, unfortunately, but this is just not really a great matchup for Texas. Against the Houston defense, you really need to limit dribbling. You need to skip the ball around the perimeter a lot, and especially skip to the weak side. And that's not really Texas's game. A. Smith is going to want to take the air out of the ball a little bit. I took his under PRA in the spot. I just think these studs that go into Houston and are reliant on using their dribble to get their shot off, and it's not scheme-based like catch and shoot threes from sets, I think are just going to, fail massively. Like, I think we bet the battle under at Houston. We bet a bunch of these studs at Houston, and they just go under so frequently. So, yeah, brutal spot. The one thing I would say about Texas, man, Dessou can cause problems for Texas in this spot, just with his ability to stretch the floor. I can't imagine anybody paying $8.5K for a guy at Houston. That would be ballsy, but he's also like he could definitely have 4 to 5 three-pointers made on like close to double-digit attempts in this spot. Not going to have the pace to do it, but if Texas just isn't freeing themselves up for easy shots, they're not going to get to the rim. Ball's going to be forced out of Asus's hand from the ice ball screen coverage. Like, Dessou could hit some threes, but I just can't pay 8.5 for him.
Yeah, I can't either, but I also said the same thing in that Iowa State game where he put up 55.5.
Yeah.
Captain projections-wise here, I think it's going to be all Houston. We've seen Jamal Shedd just play so many minutes. He's been awesome all season. Houston's kind of the team where they have no issues playing their bench a lot in blowouts. So, like, you target them when they're going to get pushed. And I think Texas can keep this within, 8 to 10 points here. So I think we're going to see the minutes ceilings from Shedd, from Juwan Roberts. Cryer bounce back spot here, maybe under 6K. What do you think?
Just real quick, Texas side, like Gav said, DC is the only one that really projects anywhere close to like what you'd play. But again, 8.5, and it's like the craziest negative matchup, like minus 20% total, minus 6% tempo. So I don't think anyone's doing that. And then, Houston guys, Sheed, Roberts, Cryer all look good. Sharp looks good. I mean, when they get minutes, they crush, and they're all reasonably priced. So all of them look good. The top one looks like Sheed on paper. 47 upside, 35 minutes, and a 32 base projection. So I think he's the one that probably I'd put first in. But the Roberts and Cryer both are right there behind him.
Yeah, we've seen Shedd just take so many shots lately, and in their close games. So they had the OT game against Texas, I believe it was. He played 42 minutes. He played 39 against KU, 38 against Cincy. He took 24 shots in the Texas game. He's coming off at 25 shots against Cincy. I think we had did we have his PRA over in the Cincy game? He took 25 shots and we almost didn't get it because he couldn't hit.
Yeah, he shot 24% from the field. We still got there like midway through the second half. But yeah. Shedd is an awesome play. It's going to be pretty hard for me not to play one of Shedd or Juwan Roberts in this spot. I think Juwan Roberts could fucking thump Texas inside right here. 30 plus in his last three of his last four. At 6'6", at home. If we think he's getting pushed, he's going to play 30 minutes. He's scoring 24 to 25 minimum with upside of 40. So Juwan Roberts, I think, is an excellent play. I generally agree with you, like on Cryer. This could be just one of those games where he gets hot early and just keeps going. 5.7 is, man, that's cheap. That's even cheaper than he was at Baylor when he was really like the third banana behind Key George and Adam Flagler. So, man, that's a little bit of sticker shock, like 5.7. There's actually some good 5K plays on this slate. We're saying that there's not much below 5K, but definitely throw Cryer in the pool along with Sharp for the 5K viable guys.
Yeah, I'm definitely playing Cryer in one of my qualifier lineups. He's coming off the foul game, captain. Saw 17 minutes against Cincy, but I think he's going to be low 30s here. He's going to take a bunch of threes. We saw him in that Kansas game take 12 threes. So a guy in the 5K range taking 12 threes, sign me up. Really like Houston guys. I've always been a Juwan Roberts fan. He had the foul game against Oak State, but besides that, 38, 36 minutes in their last 3 games without fouls. So, I really like the Houston guys here, despite the low game total. I think that they, like, on their side, can score well here. All right, let's move on. God damn it. Arkansas at Mississippi State. Arkansas back on a slate, Gav. Miss State laying 12 here, 145.5 total. Arkansas has got Devo Davis back. We saw him play all 40 minutes last game. Probably had his ceiling outcome and only got to 21. I'm inclined to just kind of ignore Arkansas here. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a rough matchup for them. God, they're down to a 129th in KenPom. That's the lowest ranking under Musselman in his career. And god damn, do they get paid? Just absolutely blasted by Tennessee in the second half. Holy fuck! I think they just didn't score for 13 minutes.
Well, we had the team total under, remember, and they scored 40 something in the first half and never threatened the team total.
Mississippi State off, 2 quiet but solid, comfy wins. Versus Georgia at Mizzou, no look ahead. They're at home, great spot. We know the Arkansas offense is just fucking putrid. They're just so highly reliant on getting to the free throw line, and Mississippi State's 154th in putting opponents there at home. So I think good spot for them. All I got game notes wise. Yeah, this Arkansas mess is just so disgusting. I can't believe we have to deal with it on another main slate.
Hey, Cap, on the Miss State side, I think we have a couple good plays here. Tolu Smith is back under 8K. Huge ceiling there. Cam Matthews, the projection god guy, never correct, but always projects well. Projects well again here. And then Sean Jones with DJ Jeffries out. He fouled last game, but at 5K before the foul game was playing consistent minutes, 30 plus. I think, 31 and 33 before the foul game last time out against Mizzou. I think he's interesting at 5K. What do you got here for us?
Well, and Sean Jones, if I split the difference, put him at 32, then yeah, you're right. He's up over 4x, right at 21 points. So right now we have him at 29 and still in 19. So that would be a little bump. They have a big tempo boost, but Tolu's been a little weird for me because when I do the Hoop Explorer thing and I check the usage rates with Jeffrey's out, his usage has actually gone down. So originally I had his projection lower, and then I boosted it because of how consistent he's been. So if he gets more than that 27 minutes, he should crush. It's just been it's a weird thing for the projections because his usage actually gone down 2.5% since the injury, but he's producing just with it. So his peripherals he's just doing it anyways. Cam Matthews is the one I'd probably play, which is probably obvious, 4x, and he gets 67% of his points from peripherals. So I always like guys that no matter what are going to do something, and as long as he gets the minutes, he should get to that 4x range.
So we've faded Cam Matthews the last 2 slates that he's projected well, and he has against Georgia 4 blocks and 3 steals. At Mizzou 7 steals and just smashed both slates. Gav,
he doesn't need to score, that's for sure.
Cam Matthews here again projecting higher than Tolu Smith. What do you think, Gav?
Oh my god.
It's 1 point. He says that it's 1 point. He's like,
I know.
I think it's interesting because a lot of people are going to play Tolu. Frankly, I think that's probably why Matthews is as interesting as he is, aside from just the sheer projection. I think Jeffrey's out helps more Cam Matthews, Shaq Moore, these kind of guys more than it does Tolu because it opens up another spot on the wing. So I think in that regard, Cam Matthews is just pretty interesting as a leverage pivot off of Tolu, but probably a little bit easier matchup for Tolu inside just against a bunch of blind kids.
And then Josh Hubbard, the stud guard, is starting now, seeing over 30 minutes. I think he's an interesting play for the Q. He's pretty scoring reliant, but we've seen him go 30 plus in 2 of the last 4. Got shut down in that road Bama game. It's kind of what happens to freshmen on the road sometimes, but I think he's decent as well. Gav, any thoughts on that Sean Jones play at 5K off the foul game? We just don't have that much at 5K or less on the slate.
Yeah, he's in that kind of 5K mix. I would call him like a second or maybe even third tier play compared to some of the other guys at that low mid fives.
Yeah.
But in play.
All right, let's go to the ACC here. Duke at Florida State. Big total here, 152. Duke minus 5.5 this morning. Gav, thoughts here? We saw Filipowski bounce back after a string of floor games. That was nice to see.
Yeah, Duke. 3 straight wins off the solid weight cover. They're 78th and away from home, so they've been playing well on the road. They've not fared well in Tallahassee, in years prior, although much different personnel that Lenny Hamilton had back then. So, Florida State themselves off 2 losses to the Virginia schools. They're still 7-6 in conference, so they're fighting. It's not like they're as dead of a duck as they were last year. And Duke 1 win back at UNC for the lead in the ACC. So, yeah, Duke, they're really limiting transition to the top 25 rate. FSU's top 50 themselves offensively and getting out in transition. So assume that to really hurt kind of their chances in this spot. So FSU, their 1 through 5 switch also forces ISO at the 6th highest rate in the country. Duke top 70th ISO rate themselves, but only at the 172nd efficiency. So some of these guards are going to get really favorable matchups with bigs that can't stay in front of them on them. Mm-hmm. But whenever I see ISO, like, it's hard to peg down exactly which of the guards is going to get that matchup, possession in and possession out. But collectively as a whole, definitely should help the Duke guards.
Yeah, Cap, we've got a big projection on Filipowski here. That's no surprise. Thoughts on him and then any other plays in this game? We've seen Jared McCain, his rebound rate is just through the roof lately, and Mark Mitchell has also played well of late for Duke. Yeah,
all 3 of them are at 4X. Flip is going to be in the optimal easily, and I'll be playing him. 58 upside at 8.3K is just ridiculous. They have a huge tempo boost. Like you said, McCain, Mitchell. I ran the optimal too, and I don't think this is going to change, but weirdly on the FSU side, Cam Corrin is currently being shoved in at the very end. So
Gav, I told you, Cam Corrin.
Yeah. I don't know how sticky that is, but 4.3, 20. We have him at 22 minutes and 16 points. So just to get in all those other mid-range and top-end plays, he's there. And then Watkins, like Tyler Sam, I like playing Watkins too. So those guys I've been just jamming. When they get minutes, they crush. So I like Watkins.
Yeah, Watkins has even done well, Gav, in a couple of tougher matchups lately. The stocks really help him. I think he's got 4+ stocks in 3 straight games. That just really helps his floor. He's coming off the 49.5 against my Hokies. Thoughts on any FSU guys? Are you playing any Corrin? We just don't have any value here. And he's played 19+ minutes in 4 straight. He does have a bench role here.
Yeah, Corrin's fine. I'll definitely be playing a little bit of him in this spot. I don't know if I'm going to play 7.8 Watkins in this spot. I was playing Watkins more early in the year. Not as much during conference. Yeah, the peripherals are great, but the shot volume for someone at 7'8", it's almost like Cam. It's almost like a Cam Matthews kind of play in a sense, and that he's going to get there a ton on peripherals, but he has 20+ scoring upside. I don't know if this is the spot though. Home Duke doesn't really turn the ball over much. He's going to get a brutal draw in Mark Mitchell, and there's some other really good plays right around that spot. So don't think it'll be a walk-in slate for me. Mix in some Corrin. Other than that, I'm probably Xing Florida State after that.
What about Duke side? I know that we're on the McCain rebound prop over. He's been rebounding the piss out of the ball lately. Thoughts on him at 7K? Probably goes overlooked on this slate, especially with everyone paying 8.3 for Filipowski.
Yeah, and if they don't pay 8.3 for Filipowski, they'll go down and play Mark Mitchell at 7K. So McCain is going to be, I'd say, 5% or less owned in this spot. You can play 10% and probably be 2x the field with double upside at 7K. I think is viable. Other than that, Proctor's almost turned into a 3-point specialist in a way. It's just hard filtering out these Duke guards because you don't know who's going to foul. You don't know who's going to get the usage, who's going to be the one involved in ball handling most of the times. It's not always Roach or Proctor. So, yeah, it's probably Filipowski 1. Mitchell's still probably the second best play. But in larger stuff or like a qualifier scenario, I don't mind any McCain if you want to play 10, 15%.
I really like McCann. I might play him on my second team here.
You're a sick fuck.
He's played 30. He's played 38 minutes in 3 of their last 5 games. 10 plus boards in 4 of their last 5. I mean, he's been awesome, and I'm not sure that things have adjusted fully to like his current role. All right, let's keep moving. We got 3 games to knock out. We got to do these pretty quick here. VT at UNC. Carolina laying 10, 154.5 total. We closed the slate with 4 pretty high totals here. Tech has never played well at Carolina. I was texting with Gav last night. The last time they won at Carolina was my freshman year of college, 2007. So
when they were writing on papyrus.
Yeah. So, yeah, tough spot here. Carolina's just going to pound my guys. What do you think?
Yeah, especially with UNC just off that very puzzling loss at Syracuse. Syracuse shot 71% inside the arc. Like that UNC defense that was /good / getting lucky by opponents not making shots early in conference play is swinging back a little bit. Shot quality did have that as an 8-point UNC win, so about a 15-point swing. Virginia Tech, kind of similar to last game. UNC wants to get out and run 21st highest shot rate in transition, but VT limits that at the 30th best rate. They're going to run a lot of half court, a lot of off-ball sets that some of the UNC guys have struggled with. It's going to be a lot of catch and shoot at a very high efficiency, and UNC is allowing catch and shoot threes at a pretty open rate. So, yeah, I think still decent total. There's some spots that we can for sure attack. It's just, God, I just hate doing it. I never get these UNC guys right game in and game out.
I know they've been pretty frustrating. We had the Baycott lull in January cap where he just did nothing for a couple weeks. Now he's back. He's rebounding again. Harrison Ingram's kind of taking a dip here. What do you got in this game here for us, Cap? Pretty big total.
Nothing like pops as like a lock. There's a lot of like right around like borderline plays on both sides. Davis and Baycott, whatever the hell you say it. I don't know.
Baycott, yeah.
I hate that guy either way. I don't want to pronounce his name right. But Davis and Baycott are over 4x. Ingram's there too, but those two have the highest ceiling, the 50 plus. You got to think one of them probably goes off. I have no idea which one, and they're both mid-8s. So, like, it's kind of they don't really have a big differentiator between the two of them. And then on Virginia Tech, like I said, Padula, Couture, all those guys are right, like close to 4x, but not quite. Like I probably won't put him in because I only play like 1 or 2 lineups. The guy that kind of looks maybe interesting is Cormac Ryan at 5.3 because he's gonna play 30 plus minutes, and we keep talking about that right around 5K range that has like a ton of like borderline plays that some of them are gonna go off and be the difference. So he's kind of interesting.
Yeah, the guy that I think is interesting on Carolina is Elliot Cadeau. The last 2 games. He's played 35 and 32 minutes. He's been like a low 20s guy pretty much all season. Do you think that the increase in minutes is sticky here? He took 14 shots in that Miami game. The assists are going to be there. He's got 4 plus in 4 of the last 5. I think Cadeau is a really good play here. If you think that he's going to continue to play 30 plus, we might be light on him.
I think the minutes are sticky. Like, not only is he a freshman, he's a reclass freshman. So, I think not playing him a shit ton as to be the lead point guard, from the start of the season was probably, believe it or not, the right move by Hubert Davis. So they could be really unleashing him late here. I didn't even really think about Cadeau, but it does make a lot of sense. I would probably rather play him over a Cormac Ryan. Like, Cormac Ryan has multiple 10 plus shot games where he hasn't reached 20 fantasy points. So it's not like even if he gets the volume, he's going to get there. His peripherals are usually just shit because he stands on the 3-point line. So yeah, maybe that is an interesting route. Cadeau is, I'm kind of thinking about it a little bit more. I could get on board with that.
Oh yeah, it's a Cadeau slate. I'm playing some Cadeau. All right, we got 2 games left here. Let's get this done. 2 really good ones. Wisconsin at Iowa. Huge total here, 152.5. Gav. I saw Wisconsin -1 before we locked. Huge pace up for Wisconsin. They have really struggled of late. Lost 4 or 5. Was kind of fading them early in conference. So of course this is now when they melt. What do you got here?
Yeah, Iowa's last 2 games have been really, really weird. We saw them lead Maryland in College Park for 30 minutes, and then they just had an epic collapse where Maryland got out and won. The game before that, they were down like 20 to Minnesota at home and came back and won. So it's just been like 2 wild results.
Yeah.
I was going to play a ton of zone defense, 89th percentile. Wisconsin's only 27th percentile on a zone offense point per possession basis. So it kind of makes sense. It's not a bunch of guys who can really just flame from the arc. But it's still the Iowa defense. Iowa bigs, they get kind of knocked down a little bit just with Wisconsin being 10th best preventing offensive rebounds. Iowa themselves is not really a huge part of their game, but weirdly, Wisconsin's limiting threes a lot this year. Last year was a lot of shooting over the top of them and walling off the rim, but 108th best defensive 3-point rate. But Iowa also still wants to play way more inside, so it kind of plays into their hands. Yeah, I want to think that Wisconsin's a little cheap. They're starting to get pretty popular amongst the college basketball hipsters. But I think overall decent Iowa spot here.
Yeah, Captain is a good spot for DFS points. I think we're going to have a bunch of guys project well in this game. I think it's an interesting kind of game stack opportunity here. I know that the projections have been super high on Tony Perkins all season. You were early on him, got us on him. I like Stephen Crowell in this spot, and then Peyton Sanford has just been playing so many minutes lately. What do you got?
Yeah, from the big matchup for the Whiskey guys, 6% tempo boost, 3.5 total boost. So it's a big one for them. The top guys all project well. Everyone's so cheap on Wisconsin too. They don't like change. Wall, Store, Crowell, all in play. We're not playing Cuck, Hepburn. I'm
You're
trying
right.
to see who else.
We're not.
I'm trying to see the others. And on Iowa, I bumped Sanford's and Perkins' minutes a little bit from what we originally had because when it's a close game, they just play every minute. So Perkins and then Sanford is the one that's popping the most. Even at 35, below 8K when he almost got it to like 9K at one point. It's not the greatest matchup on paper, but that is a ton of minutes in a very high total. So both of those guys look really nice. I'm not playing Freeman, even though he always projects well, because he always screws me. His minutes are just all over the place.
Yeah, it's a bad matchup for him too. Gav, DFS thoughts here. I think my favorites are Crowell and Sanford. Klesmit's under 5K, going to play a ton of minutes. Thoughts on him as well?
Yeah, I'd rank Sanford and Crowell on a tier above everybody, and then probably AJ Store underneath. Oh God, 8K Tony Perkins. I was barely playing him at mid 7s.
Yeah, Gav's been talking about the Tony Perkins projections all season.
Oh my God, and I have been looking at projections more this year, but I don't even when I see Tony Perkins, I don't even want to look. But yeah, Klesmit. I mean, I don't know, man. 4.8, good pace up. Minimal to no peripherals. Like if his shots don't fall, he could single digit fantasy points. So I don't really want that at 4.8. I'd rather it be like 4.3 plus. Pretty sure John Blackwell is going to be back for Wisconsin. So that's going to eat into some of the bench guys for sure. He was being used as almost like a secondary offensive spark plug with Store.
Yeah, we got a question in the chat from our friend Connor. Gav, AJ Store over 22.5. I know we've got him around 25.
I looked at that. I thought it was interesting.
I took the Crowell instead. I took Crowell over. It was either 20.5 or 21.5. I just much more confidence game to game with Crowell rather than Store.
I trust Crowell's peripherals a lot more than Store too.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the last game. Oh, yep. Go ahead, Cap.
Oh no, I was just agreeing. Store's got like a 30% points come from peripherals, so he's all scoring.
Yeah. All right. Let's close this out with the best game on the slate, the best game of the day. Marquette at UConn. Been waiting for this one. It's going to be awesome. No one's really touched UConn in conference play, Gav. They're up to 3rd at KenPom. You can argue that they should be first. I think they should be first. Marquette's at 11th at KenPom. They've been awesome over the last couple of weeks. I've been betting Marquette basically every game, but really tough to bet into UConn at in stores. DK's got a UConn 6.5, 147.5 total. Lay it on us here, Gav.
Yeah, I don't think I've bet a UConn opponent in 2 years. And as much as I love Marquette, like Marquette's a flag playing team for me. I don't really want this to be the spot in stores. Sick matchup. I mean, I think these teams have won a combined like 21 games in a row between the two of them. Not only has Marquette won 8 straight in conference, they were 7-1 ATS during that spread as well. And the only game they didn't cover, they didn't hammer DePaul quite hard enough ever since they lost to Butler. But yeah, these are the top 2 teams in the Big East in adjusted offensive efficiency and adjusted defensive efficiency, and they still play 2 more times through the end of the year. So yeah, enjoy this one. Kind of a weird island walk, 45 minutes after the Wisconsin-Iowa game. But glad they stuck it on in the main slate for sure.
Yeah, Kat, we've seen Kolek in games where Marquette gets pushed, played nearly every minute. We were talking a bit before the show. Stylistically, a bit tough for him because he scores at the rim a lot and Klingon erases at the rim. But, man, hard to ignore Kolek. 9-3, so his price is down a bit from earlier in the week. He's just been so consistent. The peripherals are awesome. What do you like here?
Yeah, there's going to be a ton of points in this game, DFS wise too. It feels like there's like 10 people that are all right around 4X and all of them play 30 plus. Kolek and Oso, definitely the guys on Marquette. 55 upside for Kolek in this spot. The matchup on paper doesn't look great, but the spread is close enough and these teams are going to push each other to the max. So Cam Jones is down there at 4X too. I know he's an asshole to everyone.
Cash Cam.
Yeah. But I mean, almost 30 minutes for 5.4 and the total's big. So, you know, that it's going to be a close game. So I think he's in play. And then on the UConn side, there's really only one name that keeps popping and that's the Don. So yeah, 28 minutes. I tried to like see where to put it and 28 seems about right. And he's at 5X. So 52 upside at 28 minutes. If he goes more or even less, he should still hit value. He's only 7.2. So all the other guys are right around 4. Newton, Spencer, Castle are all there. But that's the one name in this game that is like going to pop no matter what.
Yeah, Gav, thoughts on Kolek and Oso here. Cam Jones let everyone down on Tuesday. I kind of think people are tired of clicking Cam Jones, which kind of makes me want to play him because I didn't play him on Tuesday. So thoughts on Marquette and then the UConn 5, obviously all in play. Thoughts there as well.
Yeah, I said last game, I said, like, if Kolek is going to take 20 shots a game, he's going to walk to 40 fantasy points. Like, just walk, and that's free. So is this a spot where he gets 20 points on the road or 20 shots on the road in stores against an elite defense with a massive pace down? I don't know. 9-3 is a friggin' hefty price to pay, but like if you needed to, if you were playing like a Baycott in the late window or something like that, and he wanted to try to pivot out to a Kolek, like I get it. Yeah, just when he takes 20 shots, he puts himself into that elite category with like a Devin Carter and the Edie's and the Oduros. So he's going to always be in play. Yeah, Cam Jones, huh? You know, the 23 minutes last game was, you know, it was a foul game. So, God, he didn't really get value. So I kind of am there with you, too. Like, he's not in a terrible spot, but
he played through foul trouble in the first half. I was surprised that he only ended up with 23 minutes, honestly.
Yeah, on the UConn side, like when Caravan missed, like I thought that was when, you know, it was the time to play Castle. Castle's minutes aren't really into the 30s as consistently with Caravan back and the lineup fully healthy. I kind of think Klingon is more like the 25-minute spot here. I don't know if he gets like all the way to 28. But actually on the other side, like we saw Oso do really well against Purdue earlier this year, just being a menace like in the mid-range game and his push shot like 8 feet away being a problem for the ED drop, and they're going to do the same thing with Klingon. So Oso's actually might be like the X factor in the spot. You know, just with how they use him in the ball screen game is really interesting. 7-9, I think, in play as a really contrarian GPP guy who will be 5 to 7% owned, maybe max. So don't hate that spot. I'd probably rank him Kolek, Jones, Oso.
All right. Rank the UConn guys, Gav. I think so with Tristan Newton, is he over like the hand injury? Because he had like the wrap on his hand. They've been in a couple blowouts lately. I think in a game like this, Cap, I think we could see him play like 38 minutes. And we've seen Tristan Newton just nuke some slates when he plays full minutes. What do we have him minutes wise at right now?
We have him at 33. If I put him up to 35, then he climbs up to 4.3x. And it goes up. And just so Gab knows, I put Clean down to 25, and he's still at 32 points and 4.5x. So
jeez, yep.
So rank the UConn top 5 for us real quick, and then we'll wrap the show up.
I think I actually want Newton over Klingon in this spot. Honestly.
I think I do too.
This is a fucking Cam Newton spot. Jesus, Tristan Newton
Cam Newton
spot. Yeah, holy shit. I would rank Newton 1, Klingon 2. I would probably then say Spencer 3, and then Castle and Caravan tied for 4th, 5th.
I think I agree there. I think it's just Newton or Klingon for me. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's get on to our own lineups here. We usually end the show, Cap, with just kind of like overall slate thoughts, and then like your play of the day, like not a super obvious one, but one that you like. We'll go to Gavin first.
Yeah,
Gavin, like full slate thoughts, and then your play of the day here.
Yeah, full slate thoughts. We said it a couple times. The sub 5K is hairy, so you're definitely going to have to get the 5K range right.
Hold up, Gav. We just got Warren Washington out for Texas Tech.
Holy shit.
Okay, so I'll work on that.
That could be our value spot.
Again. There's the value, yeah.
Robert Jennings, right?
Yep. Even played 20 in the blowout with KU last time. Washington missed. He started and fouled in the Baylor game. So
there we go.
Yeah,
there's a value spot.
I mean, it's Iowa State. At Iowa State's a brutal matchup against the no middle, but at 4K with no legit other center in the lineup, yeah, you're probably just playing Jennings.
Well, there we go.
All right. Go ahead with your slate thoughts then. You were just about to say there's no one under 5K.
Well, yeah, there you go. I guess I think the main priority you need to get right on this slate is the 5K range. If you don't get the 5K range right, there's going to be guys that are owned that are going to crush, and you're just going to get buried. So I would spend the most time there trying to filter out who makes the most sense, because there's plenty of plays up top at all different price ranges without any sort of one standout. That you could play a bunch of different guys. So that's the way I'm going to try to approach it.
Elliot Cadeau.
Jeez.
Gav, we need your play of the day. Come on.
Well, this was not what I had planned coming into today. But I'm going to go Tristan Newton. Holy shit, he's going to smash this spot. This is a 40 to 45 for Tristan Newton here.
I love that.
Oh, man.
Cap, go ahead. Any last thoughts on the slate, and then give us your favorite play.
I'm glad we got value. That's the main thing. That is a lock. That Jennings guy is a lock right away. Yeah. I'm gonna make it Cam Matthews. I'm gonna play Cam Matthews my main, and he's gonna smash. That is a pace up spot, great matchup, and I love anybody who's getting 67% of their points without scoring. So
an on brand play from Cap.
Yep.
Gotta love that. I'm going to go with Elliot Cadeau. I've been talking about him all slate. I think that the minutes, if the minutes are sticky and he's playing 32, I think he can crush. Hokies don't play any defense, especially at the guard spot. I think we can get a bunch of assists here. And like Gav said, like you'd have to make some stands in that 5K range. I think Cadeau is going to be my stand. Doesn't project great, which, is going to keep his ownership down. So, all right, we went over our time here by about 10 minutes. Thanks for joining us, Cap. Hopefully we see you again for a show down the road.
Absolutely.
Gav, and enjoy the games today. We'll be chatting all day. For Run Pure members, we got the playbook up. Cores will be up soon. And we're going to have projections, I think, for all 3 slates today, at least for the afternoon slate as well. And I'll post a core in Discord. So keep your eyes peeled to Discord. We're going to get news all day like we just got with Texas Tech. It always happens on these Saturday slates. So if you don't love a play early, you don't have to lock him in. We're going to get news where some stuff opens up. All right, let's get to our lineup building. Enjoy the UFC pay-per-view. Enjoy the golf and everything going on today. For Gav, for Cap, I'm Steve. We'll see you next Saturday.